Hey, what's happening, people? So today we're going to do another track breakdown. This time will be my remix of Serein from Jope. This is out on Immersed Recordings. So what I'll start off with this one is we'll kind of go through where I started with the track, how I built it up, and then I'll go break down the individual sections after. So as with before, with this track, I pulled in all the stems first, and I went through which ones I liked, which ones I didn't, and it usually seems to be lead sounds, vocals, atmospheres, that kind of thing. So let me find this original stem. So this is the main lead from the original. And that is the thing that I really loved about the original. I really love the lead melody. So I thought, this is getting used 100%. I'm going to build around that. So originally, I used the original chord progression from the track. I built that around that, but then it wasn't hitting right for me. I wanted a kind of different kind of emotion. So I then built this piano around the kind of original lead. Let's go from here. It's got a bit like, it sounds a bit like Inception. So we had that. I then laid up the lead. Obviously, just to add a bit more depth to the lead, fill out a bit more space. Yeah, this art, I think this is from the original. It's kind of up. And then the last kind of melodic kind of element, I mean, we had this atmosphere stuff underneath. We'll go through that later. Last melodic element that I added was these little plug things. Hear them on their own. So once I had all that, I thought that I've got a good basis of a track now, and I started to build it up. So originally, I wanted something bouncy and quite groovy compared to the original, but I still kind of tried it with this kind of bass. Find it. Laid it up with this. Then I quickly decided that I didn't want that, and I went for the bass that's actually in it. So we'll start now with the kind of kicking the bass, which is this bass line here. Originally, I had a different bass sound. So when I was building the track up, I used a lot. I basically went all presets that I had saved myself. Kind of built all the melodic ideas up, the bass up, but then none of them were hitting right. So I created this one from scratch. I kind of just went with the flow and with what worked. And I struggled for ages to get it right, and all I did doing here was just kind of added. I don't know what. Usually I use the envelopes with this LFO here, but just shaped it slightly different, gave it a bit more of a tail, which I think originally it was quite short. It sounded like that, and it just wasn't doing it for me. So I kind of changed things, gave it a bit of a tail, and then it kind of fit right with the rest of it. So if you hear that with the kick drum. I really liked how that sounded. I liked the groove, it sounded bouncy. So if we put that with the other elements. There's a piano. knew I had what I wanted here. So with the original kind of progression, it was just sounding too similar to the original, and I wanted something that kind of had a bit of like a, you know, like someone playing like a Sunset kind of set, which is why I call it Sunset Remix. And I just got this vibe from that. So then obviously started working on the rest of the drums. Nothing crazy. But it just all worked. Obviously we've got these claps here. Just two. Wait, everything's frozen. There we go. That kind of reso clap from Bound to Divide pack, and then one from Production Music Live. There'll be no crazy processing on any of these. We'll go through the bass in a minute. These hats here. So what I've done with these hats is the standard kind of offbeat hats, and I've added these kind of extra ones to add a bit more rhythm. Again, to add to the groove. Nothing crazy on that. Obviously, an open hat with what bit of room on it as per usual, and then a side chain, more EQ, shakers. Now, I forgot to go through this last time. I use Shimmer Shake Strike in Contact for all my shakers. I tend to go for the tambourines quite a lot. I just like the kind of sparkle they give. But all you do is you pick what you want, and you can kind of just change. You got one here. If you change that, that's it. I don't know what I had it on, but it's some random ones. And you just draw it in, basically. Bit of side chain on that. Again, more EQ. The percussion loops. A bit of auto pan. That's an EQ, side chain again. I'll be the same on all of these because I've probably just duplicated this for each one, and then just might make slight changes on the EQs. Oh yeah, so this one being automated. Just ever so slightly. This bit's going up, this bit's going down, and then going back and forth, just to add a little bit of movement, so it's not so static. Again, more auto pan. This one's not automated. And this, which was originally a tom drum, I don't even know if I used this actually. I'm not sure I even used that on the finished version, but it was there originally. But then I changed it to this kind of just percussion hit. Originally, it probably would have been one of these toms. And some rides just for extra energy in that last drop. So let me quickly go through the bass, which I didn't do. The kick from a Mark Knight pack. A bit of EQ there, obviously taking out some sounds I didn't want, adding a little bit, I guess a bit of click or something there. Nothing else than that. Sub bass, standard sub bass and Serein. Use a limiter, probably again, I think I did this before, to trying to level out the notes a bit. That's probably where the kick's hitting, so I've pulled that out to make room for the kick. Actually, a bit of compressor. The main bass. Obviously an auto filter. Well, it's my own kind of version. Don't know why that's on there. I must have been playing around with that. Or actually, in fact, I bet I've already automated it. somewhere. Then with this one, it's got a slight bit of delay on it. Sidechain, compressor, limiter, EQ. Let's have a quick look. Replica mix. Yeah, so I'm just using them for kind of transitions. I don't think I'm using the reverb at all. I must have decided to just use the delay instead. So that was that. On to kind of the lead section. We've already kind of touched on it earlier. This is a preset. I liked how it sounded as it was, so I've not even turned off the effects within the synth. More reverb, shimmer, kind of really add a bit more atmosphere to that lead. Obviously a filter, EQ. This one here, you barely hear this one. It kind of comes through in like the quieter parts of the track. It kind of adds a bit of depth and fills a little bit of space. Again, they're all filtered. Kind of automating the filter throughout. Obviously the original one added more reverb onto it. And let's EQ'd it. Now, these here, obviously added just a kind of like a counter melody, add a little bit more. I've added a bit of Portal. If I take that off, let's go back to it. Go back to it again. You can kind of hear what it's doing. It's called tremolo shimmer, and you can kind of hear that, innit? Kind of tremolo effect. I tend to use Portal more for making sounds more unique. So, and for kind of like ear candy type stuff. So these ones here, with the same, I think it's the same pluck, duplicated it. And just added a ton of Portal delays and whatnot on it. Reversed them. Add some obviously just how they were. But that's just a ton of Portal, ton of FX, just to kind of add little random sections in the track. And they don't really kind of follow this, like this one plays in a random place. I've not just used them for kind of transitional places, just kind of a bit of ear candy here and there. And then I'll just freeze it and bounce it to audio. This ARP, so I believe this is from the original. Autopan, say some EQ. From a bound to divide pack. Very simple pluck, which obviously is why it's called simple. This is the kind of thing that I would usually build a track around if I was doing an original. Probably why I pulled, if it is from the original, which is probably why I pulled the MIDI in from that. Again, that's the filter's being automated. Throughout. Now onto the pads and the pianos. So probably all Omnisphere. Yeah, so this is Omnisphere. Which one? Oh, Omnisphere takes ages to load. Deep Blue Clouds patch. Yeah, this is the one that I really like. I think. Wait, delete that. Is it this one? No. Oh, I think it's this one actually. That one, I just like the texture of that one. It kind of really adds something when they're all together. because they kind of, all together, they sound really big and kind of fill up quite a lot of space. I don't always layer so many pads. Obviously, it will change from track to track, but with this one, it just worked. Kind of, I think, because from the beginning, it sounded a bit empty, so that's where I kind of started layering pads up. This has got like a little bit of sparkle on the top end as well, which sounds really nice. Adds quite a bit of atmosphere to it. This one's kind of like the beef of the pad, and this one complements that one really well in the kind of lower end. So all together on the bit of compression, tiny bit of dynamic EQ, just in the 300 range. Just because sometimes with all them pads, when everything's coming in together, I thought it could possibly get a bit much. This is like just a reverse reverb leading into the piano. Each one's just gonna have a bit of reverb, a bit of EQ. Bit of OTT on that one. And the atmosphere layers, these are all, apart from this one, these three here are all from the original. It's got an EQ on that. With the effects, I thought there's something from the original. I might as well just add that effects in. I laid up my own kind of white noise with it as well, but I don't really do anything to these. I've added shimmer to the vocal, EQ'd it. Nothing on that. I think this is from the original. I don't really know. I think it is because of what it's named. I then added this field recording, which is from pack. Again, just for a bit of kind of something organic, something real. It adds a bit of texture underneath. In fact, this is the thing I was on about earlier, when I was saying there's something I really like in the track. This kind of just plays the same note all the way through, which I do a lot. I've done it here as well. But this one really kind of adds a bit of movement. It's the kind of that shimmer and stuff's kind of moving about. Add all them together. Wait, muted, done the wrong one. There we go. That adds a real nice kind of bed of atmosphere underneath everything. The last bit's FX, obviously a couple of cymbals, white noise using silence, which I always use, kind of the bandpass filter. And then these here, I've just added these in the breakdown. So these are all individual. That's it, there we go. I'm done with that one. Kind of a Foley loop, random kind of Foley glitch hits. Door. And this strike here, which I've really add something leading into the kind of, in the drop. If I take that out, and then add it back in, I don't know, it adds so much to me. I really like that sound. Originally, it was just, obviously, it's just a sample. I don't know if I reversed it or what. No, I don't think so. Maybe I have actually. I might have done. It's called Strike, so I probably have. So originally it just sounded like obviously I pitched it down a couple of semitones, then added a bit of delay, a bit of reverb, a bit of shimmer to get that. And so if I remove all of this stuff, it just takes a little bit away. Kind of adds a little bit of depth and a bit more texture to the breakdown. Obviously I've used that strike again here. So that's basically it. Obviously I started with that section here, and as I went to work for the first drop, that worked for me as a start. It had enough, it sounded big, and it left plenty of room to progress. So the lead originally, the only thing I changed at the beginning with the lead was I just changed the melody. Made it a bit more simple. I basically just put these notes here, just basically flatten them down to the same note. Which meant the climax obviously had a lot I mentioned before with Tigers. I like to have the second drop different to the first. This just meant that there was something new coming into the breakdown and going into the final drop. There's something new compared to this. What I don't know what's happened there. I didn't move them up enough. There we go. No, still not enough. There, is that it? No, here. There we go. So that's it. That's my remix of Serein from Jope on Immersed Recordings. About Immersed, I'm currently the A&R for Immersed. So if anybody has any demos, fire them over. You just go onto the SoundCloud. I'll put a link in the bottom. Go onto the SoundCloud Immersed Recordings, and you'll see the demo information there. But it's just demo@immersedrecordings.com. Fire it over, and I'll check them out and see what we can do. Thanks for tuning in again. As I said before, the more of these I do, the more comfortable I get. I'll start planning them a bit better so we can kind of go through smoothly. But yeah, thanks. Please, if you liked it, please subscribe it, share, like, all that good stuff. I want to try and hit 100 subscribers so I can kind of get my custom URL. I will be starting the Twitch stuff soon. I'm also going to start the start to finish series. I'm going to break it down into sections. So the first episode will be how I come up with the idea. Then we'll move on to kind of building the layers out, then the drums, and then kind of arranging the track, mixing the track. And I'll probably release them maybe once a week, or maybe one a day for a week kind of thing. Yeah, thanks for tuning in and catch you all soon. Thank you.